Hi Rachel, how are
Hi,
you?
Fiona. Yeah, having a good day?
Oh, well, the sun is shining, so no complaints here. So very welcome to is this our third,
Yeah,
fourth library cafe?
yeah,
Wow, wow.
yeah, absolutely.
And today, what are we going to talk about? We are going to talk about.
We are going to talk about finding and saving information using library search and how you can work with that effectively by filtering, saving results, and just knowing how to, read journals and ebooks. So quite a bit to get through today, but I think we can handle it.
I think we can. I think we can.
Okay. So without further ado, folks, then what I'd like to do is that our session is going to compose of a really short presentation, just to give a bit of an idea about what the session's about. And then I'm going to go into library search and we're going to put some searching into action and show you how you can, work with the filters and stuff like that. Okay,
Brilliant stuff. Because we've had a few questions from students on our
brilliant.
Instagram, so we might
We
touch
can
on
delve
those
into
as well.
those.
Yeah,
Great stuff. Okay, so hopefully you can now see the presentation.
that's brilliant. Yes, can see that very clear.
Excellent. Okay. So just to be aware that the subtitles are on too, folks, so that may help people too with understanding what's going on. So as we mentioned, we're about finding and saving information today using library search. So just a little fact that people may or may not be aware of. Maynooth Library has over 500,000 books available online.
Wow.
Uh, huge amount of things. So really in this lockdown, it's absolutely invaluable to know that most of the information that you require is actually available online. You need never come into the library if you don't want to. Okay, so in terms of what we're going to get out of today then, or what you'll get out of it by the end of it, is that you're going to know how to use library search and how to narrow them down or filter the results, as we say. You're going to know how to work with those results and how to save them, what you can do with them. And you're going to know how to read an electronic journal article and an electronic book. So that's basically what we're going to catch in today's session. Okay,
Great.
so first of all, it's really crucial in order to look at any full text item outside of the campus, it's the good old off-campus access. And for you folks, that will be whatever method you use to log into Moodle. So whatever way you log into Moodle, that's going to be how you log into the library off campus. And of course, that's how you can read electronic books, electronic journals, and lots more besides. Okay.
So it's a good idea to do that, yeah.
Yeah. So, folks, library search, I've done a lot of talking about it so far. We just have a shot of it here. And just be aware that this is your first port of call for any of your information needs. And you'll find a whole wealth of resources here between printed books, electronic books, journal articles, and so on. So,
We've had actually a question from one of our students who's looking for
oh,
something a bit
excellent.
specific.
Okay.
So we
Have
were
a
looking
look.
at something at on addiction.
Okay, excellent, brilliant. So before I put in the search term, maybe just to point out to people from the library webpage, just in case they're not aware, that in that menu, also in this section, you've got your off-campus access link. So if you want to, you could go in there. It'll ask you for a username and password. As I mentioned, whatever you use to log into Moodle will be the same, and that will get you through to the off-campus access. I'm going to start here from library search. So the search box on the main library homepage, I'm going to type in addiction. So we want to see what's available on this topic. Doesn't matter how you put it in, could be in caps or lowercase, but it does matter that your spelling is correct. So maybe just check that. A lot of information on this page. So we can see that first of all, the middle of the page there, quite a lot of results. You've got over 2 million
Mm.
results. Unless you've got quite a lot of time to go through those results, I would suggest you're probably going to narrow them down. Looking at your screen there, you've got kind of three sections, if you like, to your screen. You can see that on the left-hand side, this is how you're going to actually narrow down your search. So you've got a whole wealth of different options there if you scroll down through the page about how you can actually narrow that down. In the middle of the page then, these are your actual results. So these are the things that are coming up that potentially you're going to read. At the top of the screen there, you've got an off-campus link and it says log in here to access full text. Your off-campus access works the same way. How do we know who has rights to see this information? We only know if you tell us. So that's why you do your off-campus. Okay, now I'm in position that I can start narrowing down and viewing full text online. So with that, I'm going to click on full text online. And folks, you can see that as I do that, it bolds the text and you've got a little green correct mark to the right hand side. And that's like a breadcrumb trail. It's telling you what you've done with your search. So you know what refinements you've put on it. And your results will start to come down. Now, I know that I think there was another question about.
Yeah, I mean, we're just, one of the students was asking, how do we know that the information that we're looking at is, reliable,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
true,
yeah,
so how would you
absolutely.
do that within our library search?
Yeah.
Because
So
good to know.
absolutely, and that's essential at third level. You want a certain quality, if you like, of
Yeah,
information. You want to get rid of all those other kind of magazine type articles. So very, very exactly scholarly and peer review. So once you click on that, you're going to get rid of all those kind of newspaper articles, magazine articles, and you'll be left with quality journal articles. So these are ones that have gone through a quality check. And it's like a gold seal of approval. Yes, these are of a high standard. And that's exactly. So for that student, if they narrow down by the scholarly and peer reviewed, then they're going to get that type of information.
great.
Okay.
Another question that we had, sorry
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
bombarding you,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
was about journal articles. How
Yeah.
do you read them? Can you download them?
Absolutely. Yeah. So why not? Let's look down through our screen here and we can see that we can actually narrow it down by journal article. So let's do that. And we can see already that our results have come down quite a lot. Now, still obviously a couple of 100,000, but it's considerably less than what we started with. And as you go down through that screen, you have options to further refine that information. So you could refine it by date, by discipline. So let's just say I might look at something within psychology. Say I'm studying psychology. And as you can see, folks, all the time it's putting that little green correct mark there. So it's telling me what I've done with my search. Okay, maybe just point this out as well about the
Yeah,
more dot dot dot, because people might be wondering what's that all about. Basically, that brings you into a longer list of options about, ways to refine your search. So you can see that having gone into that addiction, full text journal articles within psychology, you've got a whole heap of other ways and means of narrowing that down. So one that I thought for myself might be kind of interesting is internet. I'd be kind of interested to see what it says about internet addiction because I feel I've kind of become one anyway in the last while. So once you've selected your option, click on apply or narrow down those results. Okay, so Fiona, I know you were mentioning about the little icons to the right hand side. So let me just fix my screen there. So yeah, absolutely. So we've lots of different things that you can do now with your results. So that little chain kind of thing there is the permanent link. And if you click on that, it gives you a link and you can simply copy that in. So that'll direct you to that article. Okay. The next one over is to cite this item. Really useful. I know students will love this. How do you put this reference in a particular referencing style? I'm just going to select one there. And it will basically show you that reference in that particular Harvard style. And you can copy and paste that or print it or whatever you wish. It's a handy little one to know about. Email, again, really useful, keeping track on your references. So you can say send email to whatever your email address is, and that will come into your email box. Now, one thing just to be aware of again, if you're off campus when you're reading that, you will be prompted, or you should anyway, log into your off campus access in order to view it, because again, it's directing you to something that you do require to show that you're a student at the college by doing your off campus. Now, this little thing here is really handy. Save this item, so a little filing cabinet thing. So you can see as you click on it, it highlights that little icon and it also puts one up here. So it's telling you one item saved to the basket. Now, this is a temporary storage basket. And why is it useful? Maybe you've given yourself a certain amount of time to, research an assignment. You're giving yourself an hour. I want to come away with 10 references after that and decide that I'm going to read them. Now, in the meantime, maybe you're just browsing, scanning your results. You want to just temporarily hang on to them until you decide you're going to print them off. So this is a temporary storage area and it will expire after 2 hours. Now, folks, if you did want to make that more permanent, you can do it, but you'll have to set up an account with a thing called RefWorks. And that's just available there. Now, folks, that was covered in a previous cafe, so I'll refer you back to that there. But it is a handy one if you want to save searches, if you want to create bibliographies, import results, and so on. Handy little thing to know about. At this stage, let's just have a look at the article itself. How do we read it? One of the things is you've got the preview down there. So this is like a little summary of what that item is about. And you can see you get a good bit of information there. The subject headings there, that's really useful. You can determine probably from reading that if it's going to be of use to you or not. And when you're finished with it, just clicking it again, it gets rid of it. But I've decided that, yes, this is useful. So let's go in and look at the full text online. Okay, so we just give it a minute. Okay, so you can see, you can just dismiss any of those things. Okay, what have we got on screen? We've got the full item. You can see how it's laid out here. You could just, click to any particular part of it. You could read it on screen, but also you've got the option to download PDF. And I'd suggest with journal articles, it's probably best to do that because you can kind of read it easier. It's laid out in the way that it would be if you had it in print. So you're going to have your page numbers and there's a lot more that you can do with it too. So you can see that this is how it's laid out now. I've got my page numbers. It's easier to read basically. So the kind of things you can do, really useful one. You can go into presentation mode there. You can print it off. You can zoom the text. If you find that a bit small, you can make it bigger and you can make it smaller. You could also, it's telling you here how many pages are here and you can move down through it. Okay, folks.
Great.
So that's really it. That's as easy as it is to look at a journal article. Simply click on the full text online. It'll bring you into it. If you have an option for download PDF, click on it. It does make it easier to read.
Brilliant. Thanks a million for that, Rachel. That's really helpful for our students to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that we had a query probably going to be covered in our next cafe, but about the eBooks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So maybe what I'll do is I'm going to click out of this for a moment and do new search. And this time round, we're going to refine it down to electronic books. So again, we're going to do full text online. But this time round, from the content type, we're going to select books and eBooks, 2,738 results. And how do we go about reading it? So again, it's going to be the full text online. You can see you've got your preview again, so that's giving you a summary of what it's about. But let's just dive into the book here anyway. Depending on where the electronic books are, what supplier is giving them to us, it may look a little bit different on the homepage, but a lot of them will look like this, so it's laid out. Now, people are asking about downloading and reading. So at the moment, it's probably good practice for everyone to just read them online because downloading, depending on the type of way or the way the supplier has given us this book, it could potentially limit other people from viewing it. And the way that we're all working off campus at the moment, it's probably much better practice to get into reading it online.
Thanks a million, Rachel. That's brilliant. Loads of really useful tips there. And as well is when you're doing your search, how to kind of save time a little bit with knowing those features that's there.
Makes all the difference.
It really does. It really does, because that's kind of key at the moment is to make sure you're doing things right and you're doing things in an efficient way. So thanks a million, Rachel. We'll leave it there, folks.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.